Hello everybody, my name is Matthew and welcome to Hope Seen, a new video series exploring what it would be like to travel to some of the world's furthest places and to hear from the people who live there. Our goal with this series is for you to get a glimpse of what it's like to live in the world's hardest places and to hear firsthand from those people. Ultimately, it's for you to see how God is working in incredible ways through His local church. So let's not wait, let's go, and I'm excited to see what's in store. This was my first time going to South Sudan, and to be honest, I was a bit nervous. For years, South Sudan has been suffering from intense civil war, resulting in nearly 400,000 deaths. It has been one of the most dangerous places for humanitarian workers. Food insecurity is exceptionally high, with 3 out of 4 families suffering from malnutrition. We first arrive in South Sudan's capital, Juba, and upon leaving the plane it feels as if I've stepped into an oven. My phone tells me that the temperature is nearly 40 degrees Celsius. In many ways, it's similar to other cities in Africa, but seems a little bit more chaotic. One of the things I notice is the blatant wealth disparity. In one part of the city, you can see 5-star hotels right across the street from some slums. Filming in South Sudan is precarious and is illegal without special permission from the government. Even then, people often don't like to have their photos taken. Luckily, I have been able to secure a permit, but I still have to be careful. The next day we head to Tearfund South Sudan's office to get introduced to the team and get updated on the security situation. Thankfully, the area where we're headed has seen little violence recently, so we're clear to go. There are no commercial airlines that fly within South Sudan, and so the only way to get around is by hiring a charter plane or taking the World Food Program plane, available to humanitarian workers. As the plane flies into Aweil, I'm struck at how dry the landscape is. There isn't anything green except for some trees that have managed to find some water deep into the ground. The airport is literally just a dusty strip of sand with a small building nearby. We make a quick stop at the local office and then head off to see some of the kitchen gardens nearby. Years of conflict disrupted many things in South Sudan, including food production. Many farms were abandoned during the fighting as people fled for their lives. This, combined with changing climate conditions, led to massive food insecurity. An estimated 3 out of 4 families currently do not have enough to eat. As a result, we have been providing emergency food distributions for many years. But now that the war is over, there is a push to transition families from food handouts to self-sufficiency. These small gardens are a part of that. It gives families a source of nutritious vegetables as well as a small source of income. The next day we had some breakfast before heading out. Pasta, potatoes, pancakes, lots of starch. Today we're headed off early to see some of the families who received emergency food relief last year. The drive is about 1 hour away from Aweil, and there are barely any cars on the road, but there are lots of people walking. In this part of South Sudan, the ground is incredibly flat. It's hard to believe seeing how dry it is, but during the rainy season, huge floods often cover the ground. When we arrive in the city, my colleague Wandamu goes to talk with the group while I interview a few families individually. I speak to one elderly woman who is currently living here.
She lost her husband some years back.
Okay.
While they were in Khartoum.
Okay.
And she decided to come back home.
Okay.
With the hopes that she would find better life. She even attempted to go back to Sudan.
Yeah.
Last year, but unfortunately, because of the incident in Sudan, she came back on the way and trying to settle back in the community.
Okay.
But when she returned from Sudan, she was fortunate to meet this assistant. That was the first time that this assistance was, this village was selected for the assistance, and she was prioritized among the people that received the assistance.
These little huts on stilts are where they actually store their food. It is elevated like this to prevent animals and pests from eating it. One of the striking things I noticed while talking with the woman was just the faces on the children. There was very little emotion, a sign of malnutrition. We head off and talk to another elderly man, who lives just a little ways away. Hearing him speak about how the climate has changed really puts a face onto a massive problem. I've heard about climate change many times on the news or on the media, but seeing how dry it is here and hearing from the men how the rains have become shorter and shorter over the years really puts it into perspective. Upon arriving back from the interview, I'm shocked to see what was a small group of 15 or 20 individuals has now expanded into hundreds of people. Many people want to tell us about the need in the community, as well as thank us for our support. They even wrote a song about it. Afterwards, they want to give us a goat as a thank you. But after some time, we convince them to give it to one of the widows in the community instead. We are now heading to a small town nearby to see some of the women who have been part of village savings and loans groups. Funded by Tearfund Netherlands, these groups have been established to help women save small amounts of money that they can use to start new businesses, send children to school, and slowly lift themselves out of poverty. I spoke to one of the women who used the funds to start a bakery, as well as a quilting business.
Kudu na chin ga bay ba chin ke bay ke yi ran har ya dik ngi in jila lui ko chin ga yo chi ko ben da kan ya.
Believe it or not, this metal cabinet is the oven that Veronica uses for her bakery. She bought it using the proceeds from her VSL group. On top, you can see that there's a spot to place burning coals to heat the oven. With this little oven, she is able to make bread, cakes, and other treats to sell and lift her family out of poverty.
Ani nam ya wa ben ai do la kina ni ya ni den bi ka ran to ko ba na rin ko la na ni so ya ga ben ko bang ni ka da.
Another woman has used the funds to start a restaurant in town. And even though it's closed today, she agrees to let us inside to take a look around. This is pots and pans. It's been a long day, and we're now heading back to Aweil. I'm astonished at the resilience and ingenuity of the people here. In a land of such hardship, they have found ways to survive and go forward. Today we're visiting one of the refugee camps Tearfund distributed food in. I've heard heart-wrenching things from our program staff, saying it was some of the worst conditions they've seen. So, upon arrival, I'm surprised to see that much of the place was empty. Apparently, conditions here were so bad that many of the residents just moved on to see if they could find work in other parts of South Sudan, such as Juba. The people who remain truly have nowhere to go. Many of these people are coming from Sudan in the north, fleeing the violent civil war there. Some have traveled for weeks, and stories of heartbreak abound. They are hard to hear. I meet up with one of the refugees who Tearfund hired to act as a translator and a community representative. We begin to hear a story along with some of the others in the camp.
Okay, first, initially, my name is Abdul Nasser Abdurrahman.
Okay.
I'm a refugee from Sudan, especially from Southern Darfur State, Nyala. Me and my families were all living in happy. Suddenly, this war started, and then this war destroyed anything. Even me and my families were being separated. For me, I just headed to South Sudan here, and I would like even to thank the government of South Sudan for responding to the war conflict and the refugee situation in Sudan there, and open their borders and welcome us in their home here. This place, it was transit center, obviously, and then while after time, then this place started, and those services were all there. People were suffering a lot. A lack of or shortage of a lot of services, the basic services exactly, beside health, beside nutrition, beside education, we're all just a little amount. As you can say, it is messed, but for now it's somehow going ahead because we can see a lot of services around here, and many organizations are working here supporting the refugees, and I was one of the refugees that have been supported by the organizations. For me exactly, I was previously worked with the Tearfund committee as a leader, and it was really very, 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 what I can say, great thing for me, and even I'm grateful to work with Tearfund. If you don't have any support, if you are not expecting any support from any kind of organization, then you will stay hopeless. When Tearfund came, those people, they just get back their hope again. When Tearfund supported the families and household and singles, it made like a balance here.
أنا الاسم حسنى عبد القادر الطاهر، جاي من أم درمان، وبدأ 24. عندي أطفالين عندهم هيموفيليا A، فجينا في واو عندي ولد الكبير عمره 7 سنة ونص. بالنسبة لموضوع حموفيليا إيه حصل له نزيف وقع من عربية قطع لسانه وحصل له بليدنج فما لقينا فاكتور إيه فالولد اتوفى. فلفينا مشتيفة بتاع جنوب السودان ده عامل فاكتور إيه ده ما فيه فحسنا جينا نحن في معسكر عويل نطلب إنه مساعدة يحاولوا يوفروا لنا فاكتور إيه ما لاقين طريقة إنه يساعدونا فيه عشان نلقى فاكتور للتغير ده وحاليا حسنا عنده نزيف في أسبوعه ده.
Etong chuo jal chuo kumidina bega rega nyanka. Kuhiana rewa del beki ku nyanka rega mdurman. Go karga midka bagdarin kan hian ba ko daga baban berul go kan. An ben tema go gajal men sharar ba wante kai kene ken petong ai. Bajal karo jaban gago bajaban alu ajar bajara jajoran jara jor pentia roda. An ben tema jab deran ben chata chu kamit bataw chine chine. Ko na du de kem pat bamit pat kamit pat ko kana dur kan. Ini cerita kan.
Afterwards, we visit some of the living quarters. One woman lives in her unit with 7 children. After touring around, Abdel wants to show me one last thing before we leave. He takes me to a small structure made of sticks and straw and shows me how he and some friends have started a pita business with the flour provided and some of the money he made as a translator. It's incredible. In a place where there's so much hardship, Abdel and his friends have not only found ways to survive, but to thrive and move forward.
This is one of my friends. His name is Usman.
Wow,
nice to meet you.
It smells great.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, we go to visit Bishop Joseph to hear about the biblically based trauma healing project and to meet some of the survivors. The goal of the project is to help women heal from the deep scars of sexual violence and change unbiblical mindsets on such topics. Bishop Joseph oversees many churches in this part of South Sudan and is a key partner in the work. One woman tells her story of forced marriage.
Ena boy ran chen Tearfund ke chen Korea ke chen mai kan chawi ke nan chap ya ku telera won ya le won bui baban bai kanisa ku ba ma da kanisa en ko ya pen pana bu so ke ayo kare le ke tinga chiga gamin ke na le yene kana ya tin chik ka kon che mene ke ko sirda pakai kata ui pernah bumpi pakai kalang cap pakai kalang masulia kuat kerja tapi ya kena ya tin cuma di sini kekut gam cita kekut kita dia jalur lain bikin kuen kan rem kehujan ini cang jadi garan itu nih ya na yang ni area taman koren belum keluarnya lagi kayak tinggal ke level ko whatever pernah bumpi bobot tu bisa banyak kuanya ini ada ya yoki dore kuyen ya le legia kunciana kunbe kana ya tin nalang tele worotu bilang ke bodan peji chok ke peji namnya biar nya dan tuh biar keluar dan kan kun bible banyak kaya kang ya ke loy kai yen men kicero ban leu bare kan sai na kan yo ngacin na ngai kan sai so ngot ke aman ko lu ke kan sa ku jala gamane kan jalan kan ko ban kan sai.
It's the morning of the 4th day, and we are here at Aweil Airport enjoying some coffee from one of the local vendors before we head off. Throughout my time here, I've been amazed. Amazed at the sheer needs around me, the immense poverty, and unbelievable hardship. But also amazed at the resilience and hope that still abounds with the people who live here. I've seen the local church in action, providing much needed services to the people here, fighting not only for their hearts and for their faith, but also to meet their real physical needs. South Sudan has definitely made a lasting impression on me, and I pray that the peace, although fragile, currently remains, allowing progress to be made. I invite you to keep South Sudan in your prayers as well.